So the fall of Lil Nas X. So I feel like his situation is peculiar because it's like he'd made it, like he'd fully made it, and it wasn't a one hit wonder because he had Old Town Road and then he had Panini and then he had like a couple others. It's like after that, like, and then he started doing the weird stuff. Like after that was like after quarantine though, because he blew up like okay, no, he blew up when I was like eighth grade. So he was going solid for those couple of years, and then he did a bunch of like the remixes and stuff, or like with features releases of Old Town Road. I think he had an album or something. And then after that, he started doing the crazy stuff like Montero. I think it was called Montero or Call Me by Your Name or something. I don't remember the name. That song sounds nice, I guess, but it's like I don't know why he'd want to take that kind of a risk, like business wise, because I don't think like he wasn't necessarily making music for I would assume that type of crowd, but why would you do that? It doesn't make sense business wise. Like I don't think he was that big. So I don't think he'd made it out far enough in his career to be qualified as a like to be like just solid, like not have to worry about any sort of like backlash or anything. Like he wasn't big enough where his career couldn't fall. Like if you look at Kanye, the reason why he's still any sort of relevancy is because he's already built it massive, and he didn't start doing the crazy stuff or like really like cancelable crazy stuff till now, which is like how many years has it been? But his was only like a couple of years long since he'd been fully famous. So I think it was just a very poor financial decision for him to decide, okay, I'm gonna start doing whatever this is, whatever he was doing at that point. I don't know. Me personally, I wouldn't have done that because the math didn't make any sort of sense for him to decide that's a good idea. But anyways, let's get into the react. Shout out, is it Luesta? Yeah.
One minute, you could be looking like a future king of the music industry after proving that not only are you more than a one hit wonder you were believed to be, but a record breaking artist who knew how to wrap the culture around your finger with meticulous marketing skills. And next, all of those
Jesus
tactics,
Christ.
which once paid off, aren't hitting the same anymore, as people begin
Like,
to
what made him
wonder
so
if there's
attention
any
hungry?
real
Like, if he was
substance
falling
behind
off,
all
maybe
the
he's
formerly
something.
shocking antics
Jesus.
that they're now accustomed to.
Maybe
You
he
might
had
wonder how it's
something
possible.
behind the scenes that scared him. I don't know what it was. What could have caused him to be like that? Like, he was just like, oh, suddenly he's scared that he needs to start. Because I know, like, Montero was huge, and I think there was, like, another one out. I can't remember because it's been a while. There was that one, and then there was the one. So I think there was, like, a controversial one after that, and then he did the album, I think. I'm messing up the timeline, I think. Yeah, something must have scared him, because why would you all of a sudden decide. Let me put this on like this. Why would you all of a sudden decide, okay, I need to take a big gamble with my career, which is strong but still in the foundations of it? Why would you decide, okay, I'm going to take a big risk and throw it all away, or risk throwing it all away? Because I'm pretty sure the album that he did drop flopped, and like the criticism wasn't it like he was making something with Jesus in the last one, and then it was like he actually apologized for that because even he knew he took that too far, or I don't know, the outrage, because I don't think there was as much outrage, or the type of outrage was different. Maybe like they were saying something that he was like, okay, no, I'm actually not trying to do that, because he did like an apology thing for this one, but for like the first one, when he was like dancing one, he didn't say anything. He was like making fun of people's reactions and stuff, kind of, or saying that. I think I remember I saw this one because they were talking about him in the church, and then he was like, "There's way more pressing things you should be talking about rather than someone's music video." So, but with the most recent one or the album or whatever, he was like actually apologizing and saying, "I didn't mean to offend in that way."
Who has 3 Billboard #1s could fumble this badly. But
Yeah, see this one. Big. Only three. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, see, this was like a nice, like, if the music video and whatever, I don't know if the lyrics, I never looked at the lyrics, but it's a nice sounding song, like, audio-wise. So I don't know why he would decide, oh, let me just throw the thing away. Like, The song kind of is like ruined for a lot of people because you can't listen to it because that's just crazy. But it is a nice sounding song. I don't know why you would just bog the song down by mixing it with so much controversy. That doesn't make sense to me.
But this isn't a hypothetical situation. It really happened to one rapper whose bag of tricks now looks pretty empty and whose music and media manipulation isn't hitting anywhere the same anymore. It's your
Maybe it's because he'd run out. Like maybe he felt like he was running out of steam, but not like popularity wise or like listeners wise, but more like in his own creativity he was running out. But I think he was big enough in like the type of music he did, since it wasn't like really rap like that. I think like hip hop wise, I think he could have like gotten away with hiring like writers and stuff. Like it's not like he's rapping, it's not like he's like freestyling or whatever, so it's not like that big of a deal because it's like much more singy song type of. It's like mixed. I don't know what type of, like, I guess melodic rap. I think I've heard. I don't know the terminology like that. I just be listening. I don't listen to him though.
And this is the fall of Lil Nas X. These days, Lil Nas X's music videos might score 1 million views or two, with some fans clicking on to see what this once infamous creative is now doing. And while some people would be delighted with those views, it's a major decline for a man whose breakout song has over 1 billion on the platform, with several others approaching that mark. Likewise, he hasn't had a single chart on the billboards since January 2024.
Yeah, this was the song. It's an Elton John song. I don't know. I've never heard any of these songs. I think I have heard this song. I haven't heard this song, but I know of this song. It's the one on the bottom left. I don't know what that is. So I don't really know.
And even then, it was a far cry from the history-making runs he was once going on. And now, people, including the infamous Azalea Banks, are starting to take notice.
Open the
Lil
Twitch
Nas
on the
X really
iPad
fell
so I
off
can see
so
it too.
hard. That little rag swore she was the T. Bitch has no bars. Even though he rightly clapped back to claim that he would still be more successful than her without another hit in his entire career, that's ultimately not where this Atlanta-based LGBTQ artist wants to be. At just 26 years old, the last thing they should be doing is relying on past wins. And during his early rise,
imagine it wasn't recording the whole time.
Thing he intended to do. In fact, he had dreams of being a generational artist who could make it in any genre he chose.
I'm not going to ever have one sound, and it's not that I'm confused about what I'm trying to be, it's that I'm not trying to have one sound. I don't want people like, okay, oh, another Lil Nas X song. Yes.
But to trace how it went wrong,
I can understand that, but it's not that it didn't sound different. It didn't sound unique, but it's like, why did you decide that you needed to do that? You weren't there yet. You were not in the career space to do that, to be honest. Like, you had something big, but we've seen people blow up. Like, 1 billion views, yeah, it's crazy, but you weren't there yet. You didn't build up the discography and the mainstay power to do that. You were still, like, growing. Like, if you want to do something crazy like that, I would say really solidify yourself and be like, oh, I'm untouchable. I can retire right now. I don't think he was in retire. Like, financially, yeah, he could retire, but like history-wise or like legacy-wise, I don't think he could retire. If I was to do, I wouldn't do something like that. But if someone was to do something like that, I would say once you're like finished, you can retire. You're done. There's nothing else left to do. Then you can start experimenting. And if he'd stayed on his grind, he could have reached that level relatively decent time period. So you wouldn't have had to do. You wouldn't. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just yapping.
We first need to head back to the beginning to pinpoint exactly where he started taking the wrong turns. Since he first gained prominence, Lil Nas X has always been immersed in controversy. Arguably, he was trained for it after spending his time as a barb, leading a Nicki Minaj stan account called
That's so
Nas
crazy.
Mirage in his youth. But just living vicariously through his idol wasn't enough for him. Instead, Nas had dreams of obtaining fame in his own right, and soon he dropped out of school to pursue music. And as a little unemployed kid with little to no prospects, he had no choice but to make it. And after dropping a few tracks in hope of making it, he was no further forward. That is until he stumbled upon a track produced by the Dutch producer Young Keo, which he purchased for $30.
I would always get my beats like from YouTube. I would just go through like 100 beats.
It's really just luck that people just find your stuff, you know? It's really luck.
I found the beat on like Halloween night.
I thought he was saying
The
look.
beat was just speaking to me, you know? I was like, this song gonna be
great.
Did you conceive of the song as a country rap song?
Country trap. But like if I had to choose which one is more leaning towards, it would definitely be country. I got the horses in the bag.
Horse stock is attached. Head is mighty black. Got the bushes black to match.
That beat became
I would
the
say it's more country because especially nowadays when you hear some country songs, they are taking like influences from like the heavy bass and the beats and the 808s or whatever. So it is like, especially just when you compare how rap music is, I mean country music is becoming, and how all music is becoming. Because I feel like they're just blending together, which I think is good. Because I think you can create new sounds. You don't have to stick to one genre. You can start mixing. I think that's how music should be. I think there should be more like genre mixing, because then you can get more interesting sounds and make music less dull.
origins of Old Town Road, a simple song which fused hip-hop with classic country imagery. And from the outset, Nas knew that he had a winner due to his knowledge of how the meme-infested world worked. I got the horses in the back. I was like, this is gonna be the highlight.
I don't remember. I haven't seen that music video since like 8th grade.
And then the cowboy hat from Gucci, Wrangler on my booty. I was like, these are all quotable. I was just doing that the entire month of making the song. Put this right here. Oh, this is gonna be the best plan ever. And you know it worked. After promoting the song through TikTok at a time when the platform...
Maybe that was the situation. The song was, well, no, because that one, yes, but the other one, like Panini, is a good song too, and I don't think that one isn't like quotable. Like this one was really just built to blow him up, and it's a good sounding song too, I would say. Like it could have blown up and been bad, but I think I think to be honest, that song is pretty timeless. I think he's done something good with that song, but it's like, why couldn't you keep doing that? Why did you have to go off the deep
Old
end?
Town Road became an online sensation, and soon it made its attack on the Billboard.
I wasn't even on
100.
TikTok at the
And
time.
here,
I didn't
for the
download
first
TikTok
time
till
that
like
Lil Nas
junior
X
year.
learned that controversy will only make you a bigger
That's so.
star,
I didn't
and
have.
a ruling was made that it should be excluded from the country charts.
That's
Upon
crazy.
further review, it was determined that Old Town Road by Lil Nas X does not currently merit inclusion on Billboard's
That's gotta be
country
racist.
charts.
They were like trying to like, because if it went on there's no country song anywhere near that, especially at that time. It would destroy the country because this was mainstream,
Determining genres.
and I feel like country songs don't make the mainstream like that much. So having such a mainstream song would have like dwarfed everything else.
A few factors are examined, but first and foremost is musical composition. While Old Town Road incorporates references to country and cowboy imagery, it does not embrace enough elements of today's country music to chart in its current version. With accusations of discrimination in the air, Lil Nas had the culture on his side, with everyone believing that it should be reinstated immediately.
When you get to like the country charts, you know what I'm saying, and then they pull your song off the country charts when
'Cause it was getting
it's
too
not
big.
country enough or it's not country music. Does that affect you in any way?
At first, it was just like, all right, okay, I'm still on Billboard.
Right.
But then I looked at, what people were saying. I was like, okay, this does make sense. Okay, like I'm listening to other songs and I'm like, it's some trap elements in some of these. What's going on? And like it was like, okay, I was like disappointed. It was just like, okay, whatever. I didn't want to get no blackball.
Yeah. And then you probably didn't want to play that whole black card too.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Because it's like
Because I played it for you. I was like, man, if he was Caucasian, they'd have him on there. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't have to say it. You know?
I didn't.
With Billy Ray Cyrus eventually coming to his aid for a version that could enable them to make the country charts, Lil Nas maintained that the song
Which was,
is
I think, the
country
better
trap.
version.
It's not one, it's not the other, it's both. It should be on both. Well, whatever it was, the fact is that it was doing the kinds of numbers he could live off forever.
I mean, you beat Drake #1 streaming. Like how?
I don't like saying beat Drake. Let's just say it did #1 streaming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but you.
How old
that's
is he
a-
there?
That's
He
a
looks
really
so
big
young.
deal for 20 years old. You know.
Yeah.
20.
It is.
He's
It's
old.
insane.
Are you?
I'm 20
speechless
now. He was
at
20 when I was in 8th grade.
Exactly.
All of that,
Retirement.
Every single day.
Over time, it reached an unprecedented 17th week at #1, beating Despacito to become the all-time longest-running #1. Since then, that figure has expanded to 19 weeks, making him a true record breaker. While the song and the remixes that came with it were still riding high, Lil Nas X's 7 EP proved that he wasn't a one-trick pony with tracks like Panini. But it also marked the turning point where he revealed that he was gay by coming out with the release of the insightful track Closure, You Like. In the aftermath, it became a part
That was
of the
such a cool
narrative
music
around it,
video.
and by telling his story,
I remember when they were
because
talking about it on Digital Core, I think they had the director or someone who's in charge of visual effects. I don't remember if it was one or the other. But yeah, that was a cool music video.
had an impact on others. years.
Don't you think you coming out probably help others who are struggling the way you were struggling with it?
I think it's gonna always help. You know, it's gonna.
I also feel like that since he was gay, he could have been like a Elton John type of figure, but then he was like, nah, let me just go off the deep end and do something crazy. And then he like fell off because now there's one less of him in the music industry. I don't know. I just think it doesn't add up why he would do that.
You still have a long way to go because it's not like.
It's like he took the marketing tactics that he used to make Old Town Road and it was like, okay, let me just go crazy and maybe I'll get a crazy result, a crazy positive. But that's not what happened. Now he just put himself into irrelevancy, I would say. I haven't heard a Lil Nas X song in how many years? Since quarantine. I didn't even realize he dropped new music.
Everybody like.
Why is he dressed like Kang?
Messing with me now because of course somebody who's like listening to me in school right now, it's like you're gay because you're listening to him. So it's like there's still a lot to be done, of course, but I do believe it's helping.
In a culture that's as macho as hip-hop, that was always going to be an obstacle to overcome. And with Lil Nas choosing to deploy it by being as loud and proud with his sexuality as possible, it's definitely not ever been something listeners could forget. Still, he had high hopes of a lengthy career.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I see myself somewhere that I can't even imagine right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With your music, do you see it taking off?
Definitely.
You want to focus on that?
Yeah, I want to do music, but you know, I'm also going to do a lot of other stuff too. You know, so it's not just one source of income type of thing.
Absolutely. Are we gonna have more country hip hop songs coming out?
Yeah, I can't say that for sure how many or when, because I'm not going to force any kind of music. So you know, if it works, it's working. But if it doesn't, then
And it was easy to see why. After all, between a chaotic Twitter account and his use of music videos, he was quickly being hailed as a marketing genius.
This dude has literally memed his way to the top. Like, this dude is incredibly plugged into meme culture, millennial, and the dude really seems to understand what his audience wants.
Despite initial fears that he would fade into obscurity, once the buzz over his country rap crossover track died down, he had a slew of tracks like Panini and his Christmas track Holiday, which
I can't remember what Holiday was, but I think it was a nice song, but I don't remember.
That he couldn't exceed what he's done, including Lil Nas himself.
The truth is, Old Town Road is like super huge. You know, so people they're like looking for stuff to say, I guess, that could be used against me, you know? And even though
lower
I have
this
a
a little
song
bit.
Rodeo 2 times platinum, Panini 5 times platinum, Holiday's doing really great. It's like, oh, we don't care. You're still a one-hit wonder. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. How is that possible? And some people may genuinely think so, which is fine because there are some people that aren't super into pop culture, so they may only know this thing about me. And I guess it's fine. It's something, you know, I carry on my back. There's literally people that are saying things like, why is he even still making music? He'll never have a song that's bigger than. It's like, that literally doesn't make sense in logic. It's like, I'm making music because I love making music.
Initially, it looked to be a concern.
Yeah, that's the one.
Other songs.
Just because you have like a massive song doesn't mean you stop. Like, just because Thriller was Michael Jackson's biggest album doesn't mean he should have stopped. It doesn't make any sense to do that, because then we wouldn't have had the bangers after that.
Fanfare, they didn't have anywhere near that kind of motion that his breakout hit did. However, it wouldn't be long until he hit it big again. The only problem is that once he got that second number one, he began running that formula into the ground to the point
Exactly.
that it
Like,
also
why?
became
What was the? I don't want to see that. What is the purpose? Jesus, why? Like, why? What did you achieve by doing that?
Call Me by Your Name. Not long after Old Town Road dropped, he was teasing new tracks, and he knew he had to come with something special for the rollout of this song.
Oh, I want to see the VFX for that. Because it's him, and wait, is that deep fake? No, deep fakes weren't out at the time. But like,
he had to come with something special for the rollout of this song when the snippet started to gain traction.
I put the snippet out in like June. I was like, oh, people are really fucking with this. I ain't know what's gonna happen, but it was like my biggest like snippet, you know? It's like, cool. I immediately started thinking, I was like, what should I do for this video? And I got this one lyric that's called, if you've been in your garden, you know that you can't call me when you want, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, let me take this to like these religious theme and flip it on to my own, you know? And I had a lot of fun with it, and I kind of like took something that really made me hate myself as a child and kind of made it into my own thing, you know?
The end result was a music video that enlisted a whole host of religious imagery and even featured him giving the devil active posts on social media. The rollout of the track was accompanied by the release of the special edition Air Max Nikes featuring a whole host of satanic symbolism. And with
but
that,
why though? Why do you like? You're not special. Everyone does that.
Losing their minds.
I didn't know who Lil Nash X was. Lil Thug However, I had no idea who he was. We was riding this morning, Hudson said, well, you know what made him famous? I said, well, he was at Horses. Yeah, my horses and whatever that song. I was like, man, that song got a cool beat. I'll never be able to listen to it again. A bunch of devil worshiping, wicked nonsense, pentagram working every Monday, Tennessee 666. You think I'm gonna stand for that? You've lost your mind. You tell Lil Nas X I said so. Bunch of Satanism, bunch of wickedness, bunch of devilism, bunch of demonism, bunch of psychotic wickedness.
All the while, the track rose to number 1, eventually going 7 times platinum. Once again, the belief from the music industry was that the
Like, he was right about the why are they so focused on that when there's other things. Like, if you don't like it, don't pay attention to it because you're only building it up. Like, if you really didn't like it like that and you think it shouldn't be a thing, it's because people kept talking about it is the reason why it went up to, what's it called, 7, like literally as you see. Wrong button. Hold on. So you see, just because how much of those from the haters? Is there anyone who, okay, I remember in high school this kid had this Lil Nas X sweater, but that's it. And that might have not even been like, so I don't know what the, like, what does that even mean? It's because of them. If you don't like it, don't talk about it, don't listen to it, don't acknowledge it.
Video can spark a larger conversation and create a real movement. Kevin Meenan,
What
who's
movement?
a charts manager at YouTube, said to Billboard, Lil Nas X has been very explicit that this was his goal. He's a genius. He really knows how to capitalize on the moment and keep it going. But while he was naturally celebrated by the LGBTQ community for pushing boundaries, it marked the point that hip-hop began to lose sight of what he was trying to do. I think the biggest problem for me is the fact that he don't understand Old Town Road is every kid's anthem, tweeted Joyner Lucas in the wake of his
Fair
release.
enough.
Children love him for that.
That's a
record.
cool
They tuned
profile
in and subscribed
picture,
to
though.
his channels. So with no disclaimer, he just dropped some left field ish, and all of our kids seen it.
But also, you can't really blame them. Like, a bunch of kids play GTA, so you can't really, or a bunch of kids play Call of Duty, a bunch of kids, like, it's not, you can't really judge it because it's not released for them. That didn't have, like, some imagery that was, like, not necessarily for kids. So it kind of gets to a point where it doesn't make, you can't use that as an excuse. He didn't drop it for kids. It's not like it was like as if like the Kids Bop people decided to do like some crazy rated R song. That doesn't make sense. He was never like an actually like kids artist, like a youth artist or something like that. So I don't think it's fair to use that as an excuse. Like, it's reasonable, but it's also like you can't do it.
And from this point on, Lil Nas had to acknowledge that he wasn't fitting in.
What
with
generation
rap music
Mustang is that?
anymore,
I don't
or
remember any
even
Mustangs
being
looking like
as an
that.
artist working in that field. Honestly, I don't feel as respected in hip hop or many music places in general.
You did that
Lil
to
Nas X
yourself.
told XXL, but these are communities that I am a part of, whether people would like it or not. This is something that I wanted to do because, not that my entire album is rap, but there are rap tracks on my album. I am a rapper, I am a pop star, I am a gay artist, but it's like I belong in these places, you know? Despite his belief that he should be given credit where it's due, much of the hip-hop establishment continued to rally against him. And stunts like pretending to be pregnant with his album didn't improve his credibility.
That's so weird.
either.
And it's also weird when I see old people with a vape. Like, what is this? You're too old for that. Just cut it out. Look at your face. Go put some lotion on. Put this down. Go to the gym. I need to go to the gym. I've been going to the gym. I'm sore from the gym. So I've been going to the gym. So I can kind of say that. But it's like, I mean, he's not as bad considering his age. He could be a lot worse.
Hey, bro, I'm not fucking with Lil Nas. It's what the world is accepting. You know, they're accepting it because, like, you taking girls' Instagram for showing their nipple or printing their nipple. But you can let a man be pregnant. You can let a man be
Well, that's not the
pregnant.
same thing because that's not
With
nudity.
all these young boys watching, you can let a man be pregnant on social media, but a woman can't show her nipple or her pussy print. Y'all better wake up.
Because of his reputation,
That's not the same thing.
Jack Harlow claimed he was advised not to work with Lil Nas X. However, the end result of Industry Baby giving him his first #1 meant that it clearly paid off. As for Lil Nas' debut album Montero, the record was received well in the commercial and critical worlds, scoring 126,000 first-week sales. But while the album did well, it's fair to say that no songs had the same buzz as those big singles, and there was a general mystery.
Yeah, because now you have like a tinge to your career. You can't really treat it like normal. It's like you can't expect it to be the same because now you've got like not an aftertaste, but like people don't look at you as a normal artist anymore. Like, people look at you as if you're just something. Like, you're not normal anymore. You're not just an artist anymore. Now you're like a gimmick. One-hit wonders are a gimmick. So you were a one-hit wonder, and then you weren't a one-hit wonder because you kept releasing the good music, and then you did this, and then you made yourself a gimmick. So.
And there was a general mystery over where he went from there. However, Lil Nas suggested that he had a lot more to do, and he wasn't going to be defined by the success of Old Town Road. In fact, he argued he would actually surpass it.
Is it hard to
No, you're
outdo
not.
yourself when you have the biggest song?
Maybe if you take a break, let people forget, and then come back.
It's not. It's not.
Or maybe not necessarily take a break, but like really smaller albums, little EPs and such or whatever. And then let that build up. And then maybe you can come back. I don't know if you can get bigger than Old Town Road, because Old Town Road was a crazy phenomenon. So I don't know if you can pull that off. Maybe you can. Who knows?
Areas that I can go bigger in, and it's
But you
all-
need to not be a gimmick artist anymore. That's not gonna work.
I know for a fact, I promise this, so we'll have this footage when it happens. I am going to have more weeks at #1 with a different song in Old Town Road. I promise.
Yeah, since then,
Okay, well, maybe it won't be a phenomenon then, but maybe it'll be like possible just on a technicality. Oh, the song blows up enough to be like that.
it hasn't really panned out that way. Not only has he not replicated his earlier successes, but he's actually slid into irrelevance as his buzz and the marketing strategies which created it in the first place have began to lose their steam. During his initial run, there was a lot made of how Lil Nas X seemed to have the knowledge of how to elevate his music with publicity stunts, as whenever there was controversy, he managed to use it to his advantage. But while some hailed him as a genius, others predicted that these ploys had a ceiling on them. At times, even making unfavorable comparisons to explain where they felt he was as an artist.
I've now realized that Lil Nas X is nothing more than a talented troll. He's talented at gaining attention and leveraging the fact that he's homosexual to heighten attention because we all care about the LGBTQ community. Lil Nas X will use and troll that attention and keep drumming it up to hopefully promote records. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Lil Nas X is nothing but a gay 6ix9ine.
Over the course of
That's
an
crazy.
explosive
I
run,
don't know.
Mac went even further and suggested that the whole strategy was transparent.
There's no judgment here when it comes to what you prefer. But it's only to disguise the fact that since Old Town Road, I don't know a song, and you could show them all these other songs hitting charts, Spotify's listening crazy. I don't know another song.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I don't know any either. But I don't really listen to that type of music, to be honest. But it's still like, to claim that you're gonna reach Old Town Road status, but you have songs that nobody's listening to, then that doesn't make any sense. Like, no, not nobody's listening. It's not like popping off anymore. I don't think like you can like reach a point where like you're there, and I guess that's the goal. That's kind of what I would want to do. Like, I want to, because I feel like if you're just 100% in the spotlight, then you're just gonna fall off. But if you can just become like a household name, period, like you're not like, I feel like you have to like, you get to the top of the hill and then you go down like 3% and then you coast all the way through your career. Because it's like you don't, people don't talk about like Bruno Mars or Adele or Lady Gaga like that because they're already established. I feel like that's what you should want, generally. I feel like you shouldn't want to be like in the news all the time, 24/7, because I feel like that's gonna lead to problems. I feel like, because if you're like that, I feel like at that point, if you're in the news 24/7, then it's gonna start being less and less about your music and more about you. So you don't want to. I feel like that's something you don't want. That's a crazy screenshot. I didn't even pay attention to where I paused to.
I think all it's doing is because he's not that talented. I don't think Lil Nas X is that talented. I think once I saw him just trying to troll it up, I'm like, oh, you couldn't find the record. Because let's rewind. The Lil Nas X breakaway song was a parody. He didn't make country music. He was a gay dude running a Nicki Minaj fan page and made a...
I don't know if you can say he's untalented, because I don't know how much of it is him. I don't know how much is the producers. I don't know if he wrote it. I mean, I'm sure he wrote it, because I don't think he wasn't famous beforehand. But I don't know how much of it's him, how much is auto-tune. I remember, I think I saw him perform it live, and it didn't sound auto-tuned, it sounded okay. And then he did, like, what's his name? He did the Billy Ray Cyrus parts of it, and he sounded alright. So I don't know what he means by talented, because it's kind of crazy to call him not talented. But I feel like he's a lot more of a media mogul. That's his skill. And I feel like that's what's coming. Like, he took a risk that I don't think he should have taken.
Still, at the time, Lil Nas acted like the criticism couldn't possibly get to his head. He even suggested that he could take the hate in his stride, and he was angering the audience that he was intended to.
You handle it well. When people go at you, you handle it really well, which is surprising because most artists, they can't handle it. You see them break down, you see them get into problems, you see them
I definitely do break down sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm never gonna do that shit publicly.
That's smart.
And
Well,
I feel like anybody that's pissed
why is
off
his
or the exact
tie
reason
that looks like
Mhm.
an optical illusion?
This is a concept that Lil Nas X really has a lot of stake in, because soon it would lead
That's
to his
so
first
crazy.
major mistake. When the track J. Christ became the
Yeah, that
first
was a
time
huge
that his
mistake.
Viral marketing either went too far for people or just got boring. A track where he depicted himself as Jesus, the song understandably enraged some people. It even had Kai Cenat ready to throw hands, even if his word choice was a little ironic considering he was beefing with Lil Nas X.
Yo, fuck that. Yo, Lil Nas X, you could eat my whole dick. I hate that nigga, bro. Nah, that shit just fucked up my head, bro. That nigga, bro. Now what about
That's how you know it's been a long time, because look how short his hair is. Look at his background. Whoa, did he almost say the F sign?
Antagonizing religious groups again just seemed like he'd run out of ideas. He's carving himself out to be a one-trick pony.
Yeah,
and the
he
trick
is.
is already so damn tired. He took the formula of his past success and transparently tried to replicate it in the most uninspired way imaginable, just frantically smashing the rage bait button. I thought he was an exciting artist to watch after his debut track, but if this track is any indication of what's to come, it's hard to be excited anymore. So, while some people were
Oh my
enraged,
God.
others were just growing weary of the whole thing. And anyone who felt that the public were likely sick of the whole shtick were proven right when the track peaked at number 69 on the charts.
That's
As the
crazy.
backlash raged on, Lil Nas uncharacteristically explained himself.
I wanted to
See, this is what I was talking about earlier. He never did this for the other ones.
necessarily apologize, but I wanted to explain like where my head at and where it's been for like the last week. So first of all, when I did the artwork, I knew like there would be some upset people or whatnot, simply because religion is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. But I also didn't mean to like mock. This wasn't like a fuck you to you people, fuck you to the Christians, like, it was not that. It was literally me saying, oh, I'm back like Jesus. Like, that was like the whole thing. I'm not the first person to dress up as Jesus. I'm not the first rapper. I'm not the first artist. I won't be the last.
However, the public didn't buy it, and
Yeah, but they're not.
suggested he only did so to try and make amends when the gamble didn't pay off like before. You very clearly enjoyed the controversy. This whole thing, from the controversy to the apology, feels very forced. Almost like you planned a controversy and an apology.
What if I
Left
put this
reeling
down
from
a
his
little bit?
first
Oh my
big
God.
flop, Lil Nas X tried to explain it further during a podcast
that better? I don't know.
appearance without really taking any ownership.
That message like turned around and I didn't know how to like do anything with it. It wasn't my chaos anymore. It was the world's, and anything anybody said was true because that's who I am as a person. I'm this troll and I want to make these people mad. And so everybody can run with that. And there's nothing I can do about
Why?
it.
What's
I
the
can,
point
I
of the
can say
wig?
as many things as I want, but knowing my history, they look right, I look wrong.
But while he used to look confident in everything he was putting out, Lil Nas admitted he was at a crossroads musically.
You've like been so like focused and like zoned in on what you're doing, and you push your art out into the world, and it's kind of like received negatively by like the majority.
Wait,
you know what I
where's
mean?
my controller? I need to
But then,
find that so that
also
when I-
understanding why and having to like see it through. So I guess that's where
Why
I'm
is
at
this
right
thing
now,
on?
and my next move, the things that I'm planning on right now, I feel like somewhere in here there's going to be this magical moment that I can't even take credit for. And yeah, I feel like that's going to sweep. I feel like that always happens. So
Yeah, because it was magic in the messiness.
yeah.
And just as he struggled to regain his footing after J. Christ backfired on him, interest has been plummeting ever since. Now, fans have tried to rationalize why he's fading from sight. I feel like he's losing relevance, but it's only because he doesn't know what he wants his next persona to be, so he's trying different moves. For personal reasons, he's retreated from the public eye twice. J. Christ got a low reception for him, so the label...
Because the song, I haven't heard the song, and I don't really plan on it because I don't need to listen to that.
At this time, this
And I'm
was
not
just a
interested in it.
fanfare. However, this notion of issues with his label was soon backed up by an account which is rumored to be run by an undercover music industry insider who claimed in December of 2024 that Lil Nas X had his album scrapped. His label Columbia Records hated the project and asked for a new album. Only 3 songs were saved. Now 4 years on from the release of his debut album, Lil Nas X is in a tough spot. Now, the music...
I don't know, because I guess I'm so used to looking at Michael Jackson as the standard, but his album's not the standard? Because Whitney Houston only had like 3 albums, or not even, I don't know how many albums she had. So I like, what? His album's not, because like, what do you mean it took that long for you to, well, okay, rap is different. Let me say that first. Rap is different, so that's, I guess, different, because you have mixtapes and whatnot. I don't know. Because I feel like waiting that, like, just drop a debut album. I feel like a debut album shouldn't be that big of a deal. They put too much pressure on it. They feel like, oh, this debut album should be the same thing as, like, every artist, like Thriller or something like that, or at least Off the Wall. I don't think that's what it should be. I'm not saying to, like, just make albums not a thing, like, just water everything down with so many albums, but I also feel like it shouldn't be heavily concentrated on the first album. It's a first album. So I feel like a bit less pressure in that sense would be better.
Isn't hitting as it once did, and even the shock value wore off now that he's generated as much controversy as he could.
Off rip, when he came with the first record, everybody's like, what in the hell? He went from 0 to 100 instant.
Real
quick. Quick, boom. He instantly was like, wow. And it gave people hope, like, yo, you might be onto something so dope that other little black boys can follow right behind you in this way, and it's showing that they don't have to just rap or do R&B or just like you're singing country music, right? But then the success hit him so
there's
hard,
black country
that was
artists.
already part of his low. Then he had to come back around with the other joint where he comes out like, hey, here I am. So that was like, whoa. That was another part of that low. It was like, whoa. So then to come back once he came out,
Who is this guy? I
the
don't
whole
know.
video,
I don't know who that is.
giving the devil fellatio. It was just so extreme that I feel like he blew his load. Like people were just at that point like, you can't surprise me with nothing else.
But the main problem for Lil Nas X is that people just aren't checking for him anymore. These days, behind-the-scenes footage of his old music videos pulled in more views than new music videos that he's
That's
released.
crazy.
And it's hard to imagine what it's going to take to change that. Even his dedicated fans are wondering where he goes from here. His new singles aren't doing numbers, and his biggest new single, Hot Box...
What's his name? Soulja Boy. Did Soulja Boy ever sign to a label? Cause weren't they? I think I saw like a documentary on him or something. I don't remember that guy's name. I'll probably react to one of his videos eventually, but I don't think, because wasn't Soulja Boy dropping like a bunch of songs per day at one point? I don't know. So I don't think labels don't really let you do that. I'm pretty
He has
sure.
5 million streams so far. Is Lil Nas X cooked? Another
Yep.
major issue is that Lil Nas X doesn't seem to have the same belief as before. Just look at this deleted post, where he shared snippets and then second-guessed himself, asking fans if they were any good. Been hoarding music for years, shaking my head. I hate my relationship with fear of my songs not doing well and perception. I wish I could just release music. And
That's a problem. Like that's why it's scary to blow up suddenly. Like why has anyone like, well, I don't know, because I don't know anyone. I feel like I sound dumb for asking that question, but do you have to blow up? Is it possible to just make it a gradual growth and then eventually you're there instead of like underground above the sky? I don't know.
give a fuck. Anyways, enough venting here. What's your guys' top 2 of these snippets? Where criticism used to roll off his back, the backlash he's experienced in recent years has clearly infiltrated his mind. And one thing we know by now is that artists can triumph when they're in their heads to that degree. That's when you start trying to make music to appease audiences rather than just what you want. And now, the verdict is that he's making subpar tracks.
This is not a very catchy track from Nas X. He's written far catchier songs in the past. Like, the whole F Up the Night refrain feels like a forgettable hook from a Kid Cudi record from years ago. So yes, while it does sound big and it does sound expensive, simultaneously, it's shallow and it's not really bringing a whole lot to get excited about to the table.
Still, Lil Nas acknowledged as he briefly leaked the track Light Again that there's plenty more tracks where that came from, while also hinting at both conflicts with Columbia and how much he is struggling to deal with the pressure to follow up with what he's done before.
All the other shit, of course, like I want to like be number 1 all the time. I want every song to go up and I want shit to go crazy. But it's like at the same time, like I want to fucking have fun. I want to go and live life. I just want to make music. I don't want to have to do crazy shit all the time. I want to make music. I want to fucking have fun. I want to live any fucking way. Y'all want to listen to Light Again on SoundCloud because it's my favorite
SoundCloud.
song ever. Let's go.
No matter how much he hyped it up, the track's official video still only landed 3.5
What
million
was that?
without making any dent on the Billboard charts. And for him, that might as well be starting from the beginning all over again. Since then, Lil Nas X has been trying to fall back on his capacity for trolling, staring into the idea of being blackballed with self-imposed humiliation rituals on the timeline.
Backpack, 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 backpack. Everything that you might need, I got it right for you.
But as his new Dream Boy album
What?
approaches, it feels like the buzz is basically non-existent. Honestly, the most attention he's gotten recently was from revealing he has Bell's palsy.
And when I smile, this is me doing a full smile right now, by the way. It's like, what the fuck? Bro, I can't even laugh right, bro. What the fuck? Ah, oh my god.
Overall, Lil Nas X is an unfortunate example of what happens when an artist goes back to the well one too many times. Within an instant, people had enough of the same old scheme, and now he's trying to prove to them once more that he has something else to offer. But unless something big changes, he's gonna be stuck with
Where is
people
my
asking
Xbox
where it
controller?
all
'Cause I want
went
to
wrong.
get on. What's it called?